Hi, welcome to a new video dedicated to a new very compact 2S micro brushless eraser. This is a Makerfire Armor 67, and if I'm not wrong, I reviewed some time ago the Makerfire a tiny FPV clones brushed edition. Here is more brushless model. It's a 67 quadcopter, 67mm quadcopter in size, so it's super compact. So it comes with now the neoclassic ingredient. You have an F3 board, including a built-in Betaflight OSD. You have some 1103 motor, so a little bit more compact and lighter than the classic 1104. So in order to gain some weights, you have the 4-in-1 10 ampere Bell SD shot 600 ready ASC board. Okay, and on the top, as you can see installed on the 3D printed camera mount, you have a 48 channel 25 milliwatts 600 TVL CMOS FPV camera. So more or less the same type of ingredient you can find everywhere. So it's pretty light, so it can be flew, I guess, indoors and outdoors. And for the battery, we have a 2S setup with 300 or 400 milliamps per hour with a discharge rate of 30C. So let's discover this new bundle. You can find it in two BNF version, one with the Spectrum DSM2, and this one is the Fierce Sky with a Fierce Sky XM, so it means that it's in D16 mode. Let's discover the bundle. Okay, so let's open it, and we have an instruction manual. One side is in Chinese, okay, and this reverse side is, the opponent side is in English. A lot of information, for example, for the Fierce Sky, how to bind it, and with the firmware, it's funny because the instruction manual is not updated with the current Fierce Sky receiver. Is more for the D8 version, but anyway, the I/O is still the same, and we have the table of the 6 supported band with the corresponding frequency channel inside. So you have 2 buttons classically. The first one, the front one, is able to mirror the FPV signal, and if you long press on it, you will be able to select either NTSC or PAL system, and the rear one is more interesting, short press to cycle between the 8 frequencies inside the currently selected band, and if you long press, you will be able to cycle between the 6 supported band. Okay, classic. So what we have, a basic USB to 2S micro charger, balancer plug, sorry, deliver up to a little bit less than 1 ampere, and here is the other element, a battery. So it's 400 milliamps, okay, and ending with a GST connector. Oh, the wire gauge is not so bad, so it should be okay for handle the amount of current. So the weight of it is about 21.6 gram, and if you need some exact dimension, here in millimeters, so something about 38.3 by 20 by 17. Okay, we have a bag with only two spare props, one clockwise and one counterclockwise. They are 1.5 inch. Okay, some 1530 or 35 to be more precise, some racer start. They are quite good because they minimize the jello. We have 4 transparent rubber bands to attach the battery, and as well some nylon screws and nuts, okay, to secure more the flight control board. A screwdriver, okay, and the machine. That's all, nothing else. So here is the machine. We have the I/O camera installed on this 3D printed camera mount with an angle, a positive angle up tilt of 20-25 degrees. A linear antenna, that's good. I think it's better choice for indoors and outdoors when you will crash a lot. The 2 buttons here, okay, the front to select the video system, and the rear one more for the V-frame and the V-band. So the good news, we have a probe guard, carbon one, sounds pretty solid. Okay, I'm not afraid to break it, and the signal of it is about 1.5, a little bit less. Okay, 1.35, so it's not so bad for prop guard. Sounds solid. Attached with to the main X plate, carbon plate, with 4 nylon standoff. Okay, and the bottom side, we welcome the arm, is actually about close to, okay, I can measure the thickness correctly, close to 1.5 millimeter, which is not so bad. So the machine itself is quite solid, and we have this 1103 motors and on to speed at 10,000 kV. Okay, so it won't support 3S, and if everything is okay, I can see some problems. First of all, look at the micro USB connector. It's just behind this nylon stand-up. It means that if you want to connect to Betaflight, actually it's come with the last Betaflight official one, 3.1.7, you will need to remove this rear stand-up. It takes a couple of seconds, that's all, but it's a little bit annoying. And the second point I don't like, look, that is very thin, but I hope you will be able to see. Okay, I will make a cloud up. You have the 2.4 gigahertz antennas here associated with the FierceSky XM installed front. Look that it can be in contact with the props. Is not super a good location. First, because it's horizontally, and second point, because it's very close to the props. So I strongly advise finally to remove the prop cards and to install more vertically the antennas. So other problems, the bind button is not super easy to access, okay, through the under the prop guard, so you will have some difficulties to press the bind button. So this is why it's much better for the first time, at least, to do your Betaflight setting, the optimization, etc., and to install in a better way the antenna to remove the prop guard for the first time. On the bottom side, you have here 2 lateral carbon element to attach like this, the transparent rubber band. Okay, and you will be able to attach more or less very easily the 400 milliamps hours LiPo. So it's a good way, and the installation is solid. So really, except this I will say this annoying stuff about the micro USB port and the antenna position, I don't see any bother. So it can be a drawback, especially if you fly into tall grass. So you will need to use the ESC budding trick. It means to increase the volume of the buzzer associated with the ESCs through the Bell configurator. For example, you will be able to multiply by 2 or 3 times more louder the buzzing, and it could replace more or less a buzzer, but even it's not so loud like a real buzzer. So in terms of weight, we can give the information. It's super light. Look at that, without battery we are close to 42.2 grams with the LiPo, okay, and 2 rubber band will be close to 64 grams exactly. So it's super light. Let's compare, for example, with another competitor. This is the Lanchy Monster 76, okay, and this one with the 2S LiPo is 78.4 grams. So look, that close to 14 grams more heavier, even if the battery is a 500 milliamps power, so a little bit more larger, but you can gain up to 15 grams for more or less the same type of motor. A little bit weaker, but it's not so bad. So the ratio weight gain versus the loss of motor thrust could be very interesting for this Makerfire. Okay, so now it's time to bind the machine. Okay, so I will remove these 1, 2, 3, 4 screws to access more easily to the FierceSky receiver. Bind it. We'll see if we have the telemetry information, and then check the default Betaflight settings as well, the Bell settings. Okay, so it's time to bind, and first thing, You can notice that the 2.4 GHz antennas of the Diversity FieSky D16 is plugged through via some FL IPX connector, but they stupidly jailed this antenna into the heat-shrink tube, so you will need to cut it in order to free them and to install them more easily. Anyway, so I will keep the installation like this, and on the rear side you have a tiny, very tiny, I hope you will be able to see, a very tiny bind button. So you will need to pre-insert the battery, okay, not completely. Start to press the bind button, okay, and first need to select also in your favorite radio the FieSky D16 protocol. So for Deviation TX is the FieSky X, okay, and be ready to bind. And so I will press the bind button, okay, and if everything is okay, you should see a green and a red light, meaning that you are entering into the bind mode. Okay, I will press and hold the bind button. Look that you have this red and green. Now I will press the bind, okay, and the red button now is flashing. So I can release the bind button, okay, turn off everything. Okay, and now I will press reconnect everything, and I got a solid green LEDs, meaning that I am bound, so everything is okay. So I will keep the quadcopter like this in order to connect to Betaflight more easily, because the micro USB port is now much more better, easy to access, and then connect also to BLE configurator. Okay, so let's check the default Betaflight configuration. So I already connected the USB to my PC, and I will press connect. And immediately, as usual, check the version install. So this is currently the last official one until the new release of Betaflight 3.2 with a lot of new improvement and features, but actually this is 3.1.7. And each time I strongly advise to dump all the default settings into a text file in case you did a mistake, and you will be able to restore all the settings. Okay, dump all these commands into a text file, copy and pasting, and if you want to restore, just repaste in the CLI here, and don't forget to end with the save command. So let's have a look to the Armor 67. So I will connect. Okay, and let's check the ports. So we have a FieSky XM Plus in S-Bus connection. So this is UR2, okay, where the serial is turned on. Usually it's UR3, but here UR2. Be aware of that. In terms of configuration, we have a quad X dish. SHOT 300 is enabled, but we can push up to 600. No problem. If you want to avoid some flip-up dash, it's good to increase a little bit this value. Okay, but let's check the default settings. We have a PID loop up to 2 kilos. We can push to 4 kilos without any problem. Okay, and it's confirmed. We have a serial protocol, serial-based protocol, in particular with S-Bus connection. We can personalize the OSD, so with the Armor, for example, 67. And let's check the default features. So the black box is turned on, completely useless. SD card as well, we don't have any SD card slot. OSD is turned on, that's great. And we are monitoring the VBAT, okay, with this minimum cell voltage and warning cell. And we are also monitoring the current matters. We press save and reboot. Connecting one more time. And the CPU load just increased to 22%, so it's not a big drama, okay, for an F3 board. The failsafe is dropped. Perfect. PID settings. We have more or less a default Betaflight 3.1.7. Okay. I will check the filter settings. Okay, the same. So we turn to PID settings and we will increase the rate, so to something more about 900 degrees per second is a good choice, my point of view. Not too slow, not too fast, and I prefer a linear answer for the yaw, something like this. Okay, so about 600 degrees per second. I will decrease a little bit the level strength for the two first stabilized mode. Okay, I will press save. Okay, and now let's have a look to the receiver. I will turn on my radio. Good news, the PSK receiver is also powered by the USB, and as you can see, I've got everything perfect. Okay, so I am in a default channel mapping in Aeron elevator throttle radar. Okay, so if you have a Taranis, maybe you will have to select the spectrum channel mapping. Since the PSK receiver unfortunately don't offer the RSSI, we can't display the RSSI in the OSD. So check that all your in your radio that all your channels are centered into the 1500 values. Play with the scaling, okay, and the bias to check that. We have the aux2 and the aux1 for me, but if you have up to 16 channels, so it's not a problem. And I will apply a deadband in any case for the radio. And let's check the default mode applied. And wow, very strange. We have only angle mode for this machine, so no acro, so only targeting beginners. Okay, so I will more apply something with different flight modes with my three-way switch, reason, okay, and also air mode and for acro, and I will add also anti-gravity for acro. So the last settings here is for acro with air mode and anti-gravity. Since we don't have any beeper, we cannot activate. Okay, so I can check that. Perfect. So let's check now the default OSD information. I will turn the camera in any case to pale, and I will use metric, and I will set the battery. So we have a 400 milliamps powers, and the flight time maximum bounded to 5 minutes. Okay, will be okay. I will remove the artificial and horizon bar, but I will press turn on the crosshair, and it's already more or less well displayed, but I will decrease a bit. For pale we can gain vertical free room, okay, but we will lose in terms of frame rate, no free range in general. So if you want to have more frame per second, turn your camera in NTSC. If you want a more wider screen, turn your camera into pale. It's up to you. Okay, so more or less like this. So I will press save. Okay, and nothing else to configure except your camera to your favorite VFREC, V-band, and the pale system. So you have to long press the front button to switch between pale to NTSC. So now it's time to have a look to BLLE through BLLE configurator and turn on the brake and stop and increase the volume of the buzzer. Okay, so I connected the USB and I will press connect. Okay, and now you will have to plug the battery to boot completely your RSC and to check that. So I will connect now the battery and press read setup, and we can check that we have the BLLE firmware 16.6 or more than last. So as I said previously, I will turn on the brake and stop and increase considerably the beep strength if for simulate more or less a buzzer, and I will press right setup. Okay, and then I will disconnect. So You can hear that the battery is much more louder. Okay, and now it's time to test the machine into the real field.